That notification just went off, didn't it? Let's go, champ. That notification just went off. Okay. Shalom, 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 Akyam. Send this out. Okay. Hey, welcome everybody, man. Welcome everybody, man. Shalom, man. This is first off, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem, Rakah Kadash. I want to send double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to you, Aki. I'm out there pushing this word, man. This is a algorithm extra. You know, of course, this I'm Ariala. We got some special guests. We got some special guests here, man. You want to?
Hey, Shalom, Akmi, how about you, my shop, Rakathon?
Khan. You see, we got the brother in. Yeah, we got the brother in from Great Waters. We got the brother Require Plum in from London. We're gonna touch on several different topics today. We named it the Global Economic Reset, just because that's kind of an overarching topic, because we got a lot of things going on in the markets, not just economically, but politically. And like we always say, man, what you see on the economic front don't necessarily mean what's going on the political front, because these nations are tied together economically, don't mean they get along with each other. So there's a lot of things going on in the background. We know that these moves are being made for the sake of prophecy. Whenever you're watching what's going on in the world, always keep the prophecies in your mindset. The Most High is moving things with an intention to usher in the kingdom of heaven, man. So it might take time for certain things to manifest, but it's coming around, man. Last week was I did a quick review. I said it's getting juicy. So today we want to touch in on more of why things are getting juicy, man. We want to get a little bit more technical. We do algorithm videos to get a little bit more technical for brothers that want to keep up with certain things and go in. Any of you, Akyam, got any opening statements?
No, let's go.
You have any points?
Just the way you seeing pieces being moved. You know, I was reading an article on Iran. You know, they're getting more offensive. You know, with no drills in the Strait of Hormuz. You know, going into the prophecy that we finna get into about that wild boar coming forth with their great power. You know, these nations are preparing themselves for war, man. All right, every major superpower on the planet Earth is putting its budget, its economy. All right, everything that it's doing is putting itself in position to engage in a major war, man, which is this Third World War.
Kind, you Akyam. We're gonna be going through several different articles. We're gonna be watching some different clips. If you see an article, if you see a clip and the scripture comes to mind, post it to the comment board, and Lord willing, I'll get to it. Okay. Like I said, we want to have fun with this thing. I want you brothers that's watching to be included into this algorithm. Everybody here watching it is welcome to put their mindset and put their ideas onto the comment board, and I'll be looking at the comment board. If you say something crazy, I ain't gonna mention it though. No, man. But everybody feel free to join in. You other Akyam, y'all got some opening statements?
No, man.
Okay. Well, I want to start with 2nd Ezra 15. If a brother don't mind reading it, starting at the top.
All right, I got this is 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in their mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true.
God, I'm getting a little bit of the echo. I don't know where the echo is coming from. Can you read that one more time for me, Ak?
2nd Ezra 15 and 1. I'm getting the echo too.
Yeah, I don't know where that echo is coming from.
Hope it's not me. I'm not getting an echo.
You not getting an echo?
No.
Yeah, you turn it. Okay, let's try that one more time.
All right, 2 Ezra 15:1. It should be good now. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy. I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord. Cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction.
And we're seeing that build up, okay? The sword, famine, death, and destruction. People don't like the fact that we mention these things or we bring these things out. But hey, that's just that's what's going down, man. You know? I don't know if a brother is maybe watching the, I don't know, why do things echoing like that? It's just unusual.
Speaker down?
Yeah, I'm gonna turn my speaker down. Maybe that'll help. Okay. But anyway, but you know, basically these things are increasing in the world. We're seeing the yellow vest protests spread across Europe. We're seeing the volatilities in these oil markets, and you're seeing the different economic alliances being shaken up and broken. You know, you got basically all of Trump's cabinet quitting on him because they don't agree with the direction that he's going with America, with the whore. You know, so there's a lot of infighting that's going on in all these nations, even with Macron over there in France, Theresa May over there in England. You know, you had what's that ugly woman's name that used to lead Germany? Merkel. You know, they got her up out of there. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. Okay, so the Edomite power structure and system, you know, you have that miry clay mixed with that iron, and we're seeing the spirit of that manifest itself globally, to where it's a lot of infighting, and basically there's a reset coming because they want to issue in this next market of beast system. So you got Esau basically fighting over who's gonna be on top. They're fighting over who's gonna have control over these natural resources. You know? So let's keep reading there in that same scripture.
Verse 6. For wickedness hath exceedingly polluted the earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. Therefore, saith the Lord, I will hold my tongue, no more is touching their wickedness.
Yes, man. So the Most High is going to let things play out, man. He's going to let things turn up. Okay, go ahead.
Well, if I could say this, a lot of the things that our apostles were teaching us when we first came in, you know, they seemed kind of far-fetched back when we first came in, but throughout the years, we've seen them unfold before our eyes, you know. And when we're in that time when things are just happening, just so fast, man. That's the Most High getting ready, you know, and not holding his tongue no more.
That's right. That's right.
Continuing on, which they profanely commit, neither will I suffer them in those things in which they wickedly exercise themselves. Behold, the innocent and righteous blood crieth unto me, and the souls of the just complain continually.
Boom. And that's why we up here. That's why Great Millstone, all the brothers, man, are rising up all across the four corners of the earth. And this enterprise, this business, this profession is on an exponential rate upward, man. You got brothers waking up all across the world. Okay. Just like Apostle Hart likes to say, GMS is global. And every brother that's waking up and proclaiming and crying out to the Heavenly Father, it's right there in sync with this place falling. So every brother that wakes up and proclaims the name of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, this place gets closer and closer to its demise and destruction. Okay. So I want to read the scripture that the brother posted. GMS Without Remedy put Mark chapter 3, verse 24. It says, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end. And that's what we're seeing manifest itself. We're seeing more and more global infighting. We're seeing the tyranny of the American and Western enterprise is being exposed. This place is being revealed. The skirt is being lifted up. Okay, people are seeing that, man, this place is ruling in wickedness. You know,
I got precept.
Mm-hmm.
Laying backing off the brother precept going about a house being divided, and this is nothing new amongst Esau, man. You know, going back to Alexander and his 4 generals, you know, that proceeded after him, how they was infighting, you know, because Alexander had already conquered, you know, the known world at the time. They was on top, but they were still infighting, and we're gonna show you the vanity of Esau, man.
Mm-hmm.
This is First Maccabees chapter 1. Verse 16, it says, now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, you know, so the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he was good, you know, just like Esau good now. He thought to reign over Egypt that he might have the dominion over 2 realms. So he was like, shit, I want to rule Egypt too. You know, even though that's his fellow Edomite ruling Egypt, he was like, I want to rule Egypt too. You know, so what did he do? He said, wherefore he entered into Egypt with a great multitude, with chariots and elephants and horsemen and a great navy, and made war against Ptolemy, king of Egypt. But Ptolemy was afraid of him and fled, and many were wounded to death. You know, so these Edomites been going to war, all right, over their own rulership, man.
That's right.
You know, so we seeing the same thing playing out today, man.
Yeah, and you've seen that reverberate throughout the centuries and millennia. Well, Esau's always been in fight. He's always perpetually at war. When you look at the rise of the French, when they had the global, when the franc was the dominating currency of the world, then they had the wars with England.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then before that, you know, they had the wars with Spain. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so on and so forth, leading into the American Empire.
Civil War.
Yeah, the Civil War, World War I, World War II, and the coming looming World War III. You know? So if you can skip down to verse 14, Baba Kushal.
2nd Ezra 15, verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. The sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands.
Mm-hmm.
For
that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And like Lord willing, here in a minute, we're gonna start talking about some of the race wars that's building up, taking over Europe. We talked about how the migrants down in Central America are coming up and all along the Mexico-United States border, and they want to build a wall, bro. These dudes got to GoFundMe for over 10 million with over $10 million in it, bro. He's so childish than a hoe.
Hey, man, this place is a fucking circus, man.
Yeah. They raised $10 million to really build a wall, man. Dead serious.
Dudes was giving like $10 at a time and shit.
Like your $10 is gonna help.
You know? Just childish, man. So hey, people are gonna get ready. There's about to be a lot of fighting going on. It's not gonna be just some skirmishes that you read about as a news clip across Fox News, some skirmish over in Lebanon or some skirmish over in Syria. It's gonna be more and more. It's gonna ramp up, and we've been telling people, man. We've been telling people, and people, you know, over and over and over again. But it's gonna be a thief in the night. Okay, let's keep reading. If you brothers want to make points, just go ahead and jump in there.
This is verse. In fact, I'll read 15 again. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, And that word sedition means what? Rebellion. Okay. And invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power.
Right. Everybody's going to be looking looking out for themselves in that time. And it's getting that way, especially as these markets continue to be volatile, as these markets continue to teeter-totter. People are going to get into more and more of that selfish mindset of like, man, I got to take care of myself. This is not a unified nation. This is a dog-eat-dog capitalistic society where it's okay to get over on somebody as long as you profit. So when things get bad, that type of mindset is gonna be bloodshed. Okay, it's gonna be straight bloodshed. Okay.
And I'm about to say the sedition, you know, people going up against the government because now the decisions that the government is making is directly affecting the people immediately. You see, times past, you know, brothers go into the algorithm videos, it wasn't affecting the people immediately, the decision that, you know, the government was making. But now the decision that the government is making is immediately starting to affect, you know, the masses, man. You know,
that's right.
Joe Sixpack. So it's gonna be sedition, man.
It takes time. It takes time for it, because we was talking about before we got on, you know, me and the brother Yashwan was talking. America is ridiculously wealthy. People really don't. We talk about debt. Oh, America's got a lot of debt. Well, America is still the richest nation in the history of the world because they've taken all the natural resources, all the gold, all the copper, all the natural resources. They control those markets, man, in some type of way, or they have influence over the markets. So it's taking time for the issues that's going on in Asia, issues that's going on in Europe, to really start affecting America. These trade deals, these tariffs, these trade wars. We talked about how the currency manipulation, trade wars, eventually they'll start affecting these markets. We're starting to see those rumblings, okay? Anybody got any points? Because I want to stop here in 2nd Ezra and get a couple of clips and a couple of articles, and we're going to dive into this algorithm today. If brothers have questions on certain things, Lord willing, we can answer it. If it's a little bit past our pay grade, Google it, but we'll do our best.
Well, hey, I just want to say this, man. You know, you've got the U.S. Air Force and the U.S. Navy. America pretty much, I mean, not only do they have those resources, but they have the means of protecting those resources. You know, the U.S. Navy is stretched all throughout the world. They control a majority of the trade routes and the open seas and the oceans, man. So they have a means of controlling that trade for those resources, man. And a lot of nations, you know, I know we bring out the scripture a lot, let the weak say I am strong. But at the end of the day, man, when you got a juggernaut knocking on your door saying, you know, this is how it's going to go, a majority of the time, you know, a lot of these nations are going to keep backing down, man, you know, for the few that do stand up.
Yep. And I know it can be frustrating watching these nations back down to America, because we want the nations to buck up and fight. So be like, oh man, why you letting America hold you like that, man? Fight back. Well, shit, man. You get your ass obliterated real quick. You know. So these other nations got to wait for the prime time to make moves. You know, they got to do stuff behind the scenes.
They need a champion to draw first blood. Gonna be them Russians, man.
That's why we like Putin. Let's go, champ.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, he bleeds.
You know.
You know, like when Xerxes got cut on the cheek. Oh shit.
Exactly, man. You know, that's what Gustafsson was saying about John Jones. You know, they about to fight again next week. You know, John Jones, I guess he got off of his coke binge, decided he still wanted to be in MMA. And Alexander Gustafsson was like, man, he bleeds just like anyone else. I can beat him, you know, because John Jones be whooping everybody, man. So he got to pump himself up. Like, yeah, man, I busted his lip last time we fought, man. I can beat him. That's what these nations need to see in America, man. Some type of vulnerability. And that vulnerability is set forth to come. I want to play this clip right here with Lynette Zhang and touch in on some things she said. She got this video that she posted called Something Nasty This Way Comes. Okay, it's talking about the central bank and the markets. Now, this is a 20-minute video, and I really encourage Akiam to go and watch the whole 20 minutes. But I want to play some of the things here in the beginning because she makes some very good points that's going to lead us into some articles that the brother had pulled up and that we're going to read from. Okay, let's play this. Y'all have to excuse me, man. I got this this old supercomputer, man. We're gonna see if this thing is gonna do what I want. Play.
And this, even though we started raising the rates and reducing the balance sheet,
y'all let me know if y'all can hear that.
They said they needed to do that. It was to give them some firepower for the next crisis. That's why they're doing it. And we're seeing this trend, or at least the attempt of it, on a global basis. But QE was an experiment to begin with, and it gave us lots of asset bubbles. QT, which is quantitative tightening, which is reducing that liquidity, what they're really trying to do with the Federal Reserve and other central.
Now, liquidity basically is access to cash, access to money. And that's what QE provided. QE gave all these big banks, all these banks. When you look at Wells Fargo, when you look at Bank of America, when you look at the credit union that you might go and get a car loan from, that you might get a mortgage from, that you might get a small loan to start a business from, those banks and those businesses borrow money from the Fed themselves. They're underneath that umbrella. So when they talk about the Fed rate hike or the federal funds rate, that's the rate that these banks borrow money from the Federal Reserve at. So Wells Fargo, the government itself, the United States government, gets money from the Federal Reserve Bank at a certain interest rate. All right. During the time of quantitative easing, they had set that rate at 0, meaning they got to borrow money from the Fed basically for free. So in turn, that allowed the government, these banks, different corporations to allow people to have access to funds cheaper. So it was easier to get credit. It was easier for you to start a business. It was easier for you to buy a car. It was easier for you to buy a home. That allowed these businesses to flourish from the time of like 2010, 2011, 2015, all the way up until now. That's why you see the Dow Jones skyrocket and go up to all these high levels that we've seen. When you look at the stock market and you look at how the numbers have just been hitting all-time highs, it was because there's free money in the market. You had these people, these companies that really were trash had access to ridiculous amounts of money. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Can I say something real quick on that?
Absolutely.
You had basically, what was the Dow at before they started quantitative easing? Around 6,500.
About 6,500, 8,000.
Yeah, and then balloons up to 26,000 with almost next to no actual real GDP growth, man. All the GDP growth was based off of printing debt, man, creating debt. And now they're at the wall where they can't create no debt anymore. And now they got to suck up all that debt, man, out of the system. You know, so this Dow is going down, man. The Dow Jones is going down, man.
Yeah. And the Dow Jones is nothing but a representation of the manufacturing industry in general across America and in the world, because you know all these, you got all these manufacturing companies in China and they're U.S. based, they're U.S. companies, but they're located in different areas in the world. So when you see that Dow Jones is representative of all that market in general coming down.
Mm-hmm. And when you have, if you need to print $10 just to make $1 in growth, that's a sign that your system ain't working no more.
That's right. That's right.
We're at the time where it's going to start unwinding.
That's right. Okay, so now you see the Fed, because they're trying to make a transition, They're raising their funds rate up to make it so it's making it harder for people to borrow money, harder for people to have access to cash. They're squeezing liquidity. So when you hear the liquidity squeezing, that's what that's talking about. Okay. Hope that makes sense. We'll keep going.
Central bankers are attempting is to wean these addicted markets off of that money that they got for free, except that all those debts are going to be turning over. That we're going to be talking about next week. So at any rate, the result of them saying now the balance sheet is going to be on autopilot, which means every month they're just not going to reinvest them. You can see what that looks like. That pushed the yield curve even flatter. So we have it inverted at the 2 to 3 year or 3 to 5 year level, but it's also more flat, the 2 to the 10-year yield. That's not really good. So what is it that the Fed is seeing? And actually the ECB, we talked about it last week because the ECB brought it up. And I'm going to show you that in just 1 second because I go back to my daddy for this. Do what I say and not what I do. What he's saying is that, hey, everything is fine in the economy and the consumer is really strong, except consumer discretionary stocks like building, auto, banks, and retail are all in bear market territory. So the stock market is not telling the same thing that his lips are saying. But this is the real key of this. And no.
Okay, and bear market means that the market has dropped 20%. Okay, so that's what that means, man. That's a lot, bro. You know, if you lost 20% of your gains, that's a lot. You know, if you have a regular business and you like, oh, you know, we've dropped 20%, you'll be like, dang, what's going on? Somebody needs to be fired. Okay, that's where we're at. That's where we're at in these markets, man. 20% of 1 trillion is 200 billion. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot. That's an L. Okay. So, you know, put that across the whole world market.
Nobody else is really talking about it because they don't want to. They lowered their GDP forecast, which means slower growth, which means things are not so great. I don't care what they say. They also turn around and say, yeah, the economy is not growing so hot. Shocker. In addition, they expect wage pressure because of the tight labor market. They expect wages and other costs to go up. Now, we heard Mario Draghi talk about it last week. Now we hear Fed Chair Powell talk about it. That's stagflation. You know, the last time that we had to deal with this, and I don't think that this is really, I mean, I always talk about repeatable patterns. The last time that we dealt with stagflation in this country was in the 1970s. What was happening in the 1970s? We were transitioning from a gold-backed system to a debt-backed system. What is happening now? We are transitioning from a debt-backed system to, I'm afraid to say it, I think it's going to be, I think that it's going to be a purchasing-based system.
It's going to be a ration system. It's going to be a chip. Everything is going to be controlled. That's why this is called a global economic reset. There's a transition happening. So money is being sucked out of the economy to be put into a different position of control. And once everything crashes, man, they're going to want you to get a chip. They're going to want to regulate your buying and your selling. They're going to limit certain people to buying and selling. There was an article or some of the news clip that I saw how China's got everybody on a list and how they making basically what was the terminate? What was the
social credit?
Social, yeah, everybody's getting a social credit, man. And really, they're launching that thing out of India. See, India's kind of sitting back, chilling, And nobody's talking about what's going on in India and how they've already basically gone completely cashless in India. And everybody's on that social credit system right now, you know? So that's what's happening. Any of you, Aki, want to make any points?
Well, hey, it's plain and simple. This is the mark of the beast that we're moving to, man.
That's right.
That's that new system, man. It's not Christianity. It's not the new system.
Yeah, come on.
You know, it's our temptation, man. Because they're gonna make it hard. They're gonna make it as hard as possible to resist this chip once this new system's in place.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is a global enterprise. It's not gonna happen overnight. The world, bro. A lot of people have very small minds. Talking about a global system. It's gonna take time to roll out. It's gonna take more than 2 weeks. Takes decades to get things together like that and make moves like that. Okay. We even talk in the scriptures how we're gonna have a 1,000-year process of cleaning and building everything up, establishing stuff on the planet Earth, redirecting everything, you know. Then we're gonna wipe out the Edomites completely, you know. Yashawampa's gonna throw a party. We're gonna all be there, you know. Takes time to get stuff going, man. This is what Esau's doing. We're literally watching it, and it's in the scripture. Okay. All a part of the Most High's algorithm. Okay, I'm gonna keep playing it unless somebody's got a point. I'll take that as let's go, Jim.
Money will be purchased into existence by people shopping. That's why they've been driving the world to consumerisms. But you get to a level where the consumers can't consume so much when they've taken on debt. We're not really talking about debt today, but I want to bring that up because even though they're saying it, slower growth, higher costs, they haven't actually used the word stagflation. So you hear it here. They're talking about it. We're talking about it. They expect a spike in inflation. And yeah, because there's only one way to fight deflation, and that's with inflation. That's the only way. So they may be cutting back, and you might see Fed chair raise rates and let the balance sheet run off, and maybe the Bank of Japan isn't buying quite as much, and maybe the ECB is trying to cut back. It's not going to last long because the globe is now in a bear market with the specter of stagflation. How can they get that growth to escalate? The tax law changes, the repatriation didn't do what they thought. Well, maybe it did do what they actually thought, but it didn't do what they told us it was going to do. Shocker. Did the same thing last time. No, it's not going into capital expenditures. It's going into stock buybacks. Debt for corporation has grown 60%, but earnings have grown 27%.
So what is that? What's she talking about? The money, the trillions of dollars that they poured into these markets, these companies that were on the edge or on the verge of bankruptcy, really they should have went bankrupt. They took all of that money and they bought back and basically invested in themselves. So it made it seem like their companies were doing amazing. They did something called stock buybacks. So they took that money and just invested it and made it seem like there's all this investment going into their corporation. That's what Amazon did. Amazon went from penny stock basically all the way to the top stock in world history. Okay.
So it's like a nigga buying his own album.
Yep. That's exactly what it's like. Making himself go platinum. He took all that money, took a loan from the bank, and just bought his own album, and want to act like he doing something. Like, you got just platinum. No, bro, you through. Nobody wants that shit. Okay. That makes sense. I'm getting an echo again.
I think you got to turn it up.
You know. Okay, I'm gonna play this. Okay.
Another topic for next week. But can you see how all of these things really do come together? So that's what the central bankers are seeing. They see stagflation. slower growth, higher inflation. Not a good position for anybody really to be going in. That would be like your bills keep going up, but your income doesn't keep up with it. Oh, wait, that's pretty simple, actually. Now the corporations are going to be squeezed. But the markets see this too. Now, what I'm about to show you, I'm getting goosebumps, okay?
Okay, this is my favorite part, so pay attention.
The first one I'm going to show you is a transportation index. So this is what moves goods around the country and in some cases around the world. And you can see this is where it started the year. So all of these are from the first of the year. This is where it started the year.
Okay, so this is what's happening in the transportation industry. And we took me and Roquaria Quam did sit down, did an algorithm on this. I can't remember what we called it. You remember what we called that algorithm? Where we talked about how famine don't necessarily just come from stocks. Come from crops having locusts and shit. When you shut down the transportation and you shut down the availability of food and resources getting to the store, that's how you can have famine. That's how you had the situation going on in Venezuela. It wasn't because there was no resources. It wasn't because there was no food. They just didn't have any way to get the food to the stores.
The resources can't go from point A to point B.
That's right. That's right. So we're looking at those type of situations happening in the markets now. Look at this chart. You know, beginning of the year, this is where they was at. You see, look at that volatility. You know, it's just like whenever a person is about to have a heart attack, the EKG is going crazy. That's, you know, it's fluttering. It's like, oh Lord, good Lord. And then finally, you die, you know. And that's what's happening in the markets. They're having all of this up and down, up and down, up and down. We're going to talk a little bit more about this volatility. And then finally, you starting to see a crash. Okay. So this is why she says she's getting goosebumps, because she's like, oh man, look at this. I'm getting goosebumps too, baby.
This is where it peaked in September of this year.
Just real quick, just going into people like Lynette Zhang. There's a lot of them that have been, you know, economic forecasters that have been looking at the numbers, and the numbers don't lie. This is Ecclesiastes 12:3. And in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and that's talking about these different leaders, and even they're going. When they see the hell that's gonna come down, even they gonna be like, oh shit, we should have just chilled. And the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease. That's the work, because they are few, and those that look out the windows be darkened. And that's like your forecast. You know, like when you wake up in the morning, you want to see what the day is gonna be like. You look out your window, right? If you see sunshine or a sun rising and it's clear skies, you're like, oh boy, it's gonna be a nice day. When people like Lynette Zhang, they're looking out the window, they're like, damn, there's storm clouds on the horizon.
Right.
You know, there's lightning, you know, there's thunder.
That's right.
And pretty soon when this whole thing goes down, that's what everybody's gonna see. See, a lot of these people, they're still ignorant. They thinking it's, you know, everything's gonna come back. Nah. There's nothing but the scripture says, and evil and only evil is come. You know, that's in the book of Ezekiel. You know? But yeah, Ark, I just wanted to make that quick point that people like her in the scriptures, man.
That's right.
She ain't saying nothing good. What's the title of the video?
Something nasty this way comes.
Yeah. Dirty.
You know.
Here, there's that death cross. Remember, we've talked about that 50-day moving average. When it crosses below that 200-day moving average, that is actually technically called a death cross. And you can see once it crossed it, look at how rapid the markets imploded. Guess what? That's a teen pattern shift. We saw the same thing right after that with the NASDAQ. We saw, and I'm going to just let you know here that in all cases, the current price is below the January where it opened in January.
So that means all the profits that was made in 2018 have been absolutely erased. So that
praises to Yahweh Shimi Shai.
Pop bottles to that.
No, they're losing. They bleed, bro. Imagine you had a business, man. You had a business, and business is going good. I always use a shoe company, man. You know, you selling bootleg Jordans. You made over the course of the year, you made 70K, and then then all of a sudden you just start bleeding. You start losing money, man. To where all the money you made over the year, you lost it.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, you losing, rapidly losing. What's that gonna make you do? You're gonna have to fire your employees. You know, you ain't gonna be able to buy as much materials to make shoes. So production is gonna go down. Okay.
And if I could add something, Mark,
Absolutely.
these aren't charts of just an individual company. This is the whole transport industry.
Yes. Yep. We're looking at the manufacturing markets. We're looking at the tech markets. You got something called FANG stocks. FANG stock is what? Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Google, and something else. But I know FANG is those. Those companies are drastically losing money, like ridiculous. Okay, billions of dollars lost. So we're coming into something incredible, man. 2019 is going to be amazing.
Yep.
Okay, so our mindset should be what? To remain steady, continue preaching. Okay, continue lifting up that banner. Brothers need to make sure that they're having spiritual and emotional stability. Okay, don't get your mind and your heart all caught up. Just stay steady.
I got a precept.
Let's go, champ.
This is Psalms 46:10. Be still and know that I am God, and I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth.
God, you want to make a point on that out?
Now it's just you saying you gotta be steady, man. The Lord said, "Be still."
That's right.
So, we observing this like an eagle, like a hawk. We watching it, but we're not losing our minds.
God.
You know, we getting a bit excited, naturally, because we've been waiting on this for a long time. But you got to be stable in your mind, man.
That's right. That's right.
Wait, can I bring this out real quick?
This
is Proverbs 11:4. Riches profit not in the day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death. So just focus on righteousness, man. Just focus on the kingdom of heaven, and everything is going to be added unto you once this shit really goes down, man. That's all you got to. That's all you need is Yahweh Shemi Yahushai, man.
God, man. And this is what, man, what we're looking at with these markets going into what's called this death cross, where they looking at what's called the 200-day moving average and the 50-day moving average, where they take the averages of the markets over the course of this time and seeing how it's crossing. This has already happened in the Japanese market. This has already happened in the Chinese market. This has already happened in the Canadian market, in the European markets. And now that it's hit Babylon the Great, it's hit America, we're going to see things escalate rapidly. Okay, so you're looking at these dates. She's got the dates. She's got it all listed out for you. That's why I like Lynette Zhang, because she's thorough. You know.
Hey, man.
That's right, champ. All right. So the question is, and she put the question now that will the government help the markets? Are they going to do a whole nother round of QE, or are they going to let this thing crash? And we're seeing them set up this digital system. It's already digital, but they want it fully a digital consciousness, and they want to upload you. Okay, so it's coming. I'm gonna keep playing.
Confirmation that we just got yesterday of the Dow theory being confirmed, because the Dow Jones, which is the manufacturing index, just crossed, which means that even as nasty as this looks, it is really, frankly, likely to get a whole lot more nasty. And if you listen to mainstream media, what they're talking about is the hopium that the pension plans must rebalance their portfolios, and therefore, because the stocks have moved down so much and the bonds have moved up so much, that they're going to have to go in and buy stocks. Well, the greatest buybacks in history haven't been able to support this market. The pension plans are in there helping transfer the risk, as we saw last week, and I've shown you that so many times.
Okay, so you guys, this video is very, very good. You can go and continue to watch that. I'm gonna move on to the next clip. Does anybody have anything?
I just wanted to get that scripture that I mentioned, man.
Okay, kind.
Ezekiel 7:5. Now, originally this scripture was towards Jerusalem, but now this applies to Esau. Esau, these heathens. All right, beginning with Babylon the Great. The scripture says Ezekiel 7:5. Thus saith the Lord God, and evil and only evil, behold, is come. An end is come. The end is come. It watcheth for thee. Behold, it is come.
I got a precept before you play that next clip. This is Habakkuk 2:6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Okay, we know that thick clay is talking about debts, man. Heavy debts and burdens, man. And that's what's causing all this. All the years of heavy debts, man, being built up, pumped into the markets. That's all debt, man. And it's all collapsing, man.
Yep. We're getting it, man. We are getting it. I'm gonna play this clip right here that you pulled up, Bach. You want me to start it from the beginning? Just roll with it?
Yeah. We might as well play the whole thing.
Okay.
State spoke to Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin about high-frequency trading. Take a listen.
I am completely. I think that with the advent of computerized trading, which has such a big part of the market now, combined with the Volcker rule, where you can't have market makers commit capital, you just have much bigger moves in both directions. And I think clearly you have a situation here.
Okay, when they talk about computerized trading, they talk about how when you look at the stock market, it used to be you had people on the floor in Wall Street saying, I want to buy this, I want to buy that, people writing it down and putting it in. Now everything's done digitally. Even so to where you have trading bots that are programmed with computer algorithms to make certain trades at certain key levels. And they put in all these different equations and say, if the market does this, then I want you to trade that. If it does that, I want you to trade this. So trading is going on instantaneously in the market. So they're saying makes the market go up and down more rapidly. Really, it's just an excuse for the market being toxic, because the bots are doing what they're trained to do. It's not like the bot got a mind. It's got machine learning. Bots are taking the information from the market and making adjustments, but it's all according to equations that men put in it.
Where the market has overreacted to the Fed's comments, and you see program trading taking over.
Well, there you have it from the Secretary, Finance Secretary, coming Kindi CEO.
He looked like he do cocaine.
Ryan, you heard what Mr. Mnuchin had to say. Is it driving the market itself, these high-frequency trading, these computer programs, the algorithms? Is that the problem? for the volatility?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. I mean, look, you said it earlier in your show. Is these algorithms will look at a headline and start selling. And if you see the third paragraph of the Fed statement, it said we're going to raise rates. Algorithms key in on the word raise and just start selling. They don't actually understand the context and the meaning of what the Fed was actually communicating to the market.
So I guess the easy fix is to fix the algorithms, but is it that easy?
No, it's not that easy. Look, all of the advancements that we've made in AI and machine learning have come around computer vision. It's the natural language understanding or comprehension of language that is still elusive to the field. So first and foremost, as a field, we need to build better algorithms and kind of retake on the task of building.
And that's complete and utter bullshit. Like, he's just making that up, man. These algorithms can understand that if you put it in there. You know, it's literally an excuse that they make it.
But like, I want to make a point. He was saying about what was it? The news headlines sell you know, you get a bad news headline, you sell. You know, there's nothing but bad news.
Yeah, yeah. It's saying sell because they're taking all the information and they know to sell, man. You know, they're like, man, this is bad. Sell. That's why it's selling, because it's right.
That's why you get such large fluctuations now, because it's all knee-jerk reactions, man.
Let's go, champ. It's like someone said, you can't create an algorithm for a market you can't predict. GMS prepare for trouble put. Good point.
The bots know it's over.
Yeah. Even the computer know that, oh man, it's out. We out of here.
Better algorithms for natural language. But right now we're just not there yet. So the Fed and even the Treasury may actually think about how to communicate with these systems better.
Well, you know, with such a high-tech world these days, it seems to me that should be not easy, but there should be the technology already to do that. Does your company do that? You're with Kindy, your CEO. Is that what your company does?
No. So we build systems that do understand natural language. So we build explainable AI products for financial services, government, healthcare, and a number of other Fortune 500 industries.
Well, that must be hard to do because we know that sometimes you can make a statement, but you don't get the right context. That happens when people text each other. Sometimes it's misunderstood because the context isn't there. I don't know how you can build AI that will account for that.
Yeah, well,
that's why they got the Skynet, man. If you notice all these different systems there's problems. Well, the simple solution they're gonna be is they're gonna have one master AI to come in and clean up all these other little ones. Just like they show you in the Matrix, man. You got levels to this. That's all it is. They're just gonna have one master AI that will seek out the bots that are doing the wrong things according to them and take control.
Wait, that's that's kind of like you brothers went into the blockchain operating system, man.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Exactly.
Actually, two fields of AI, and a lot of people are focused on machine learning, which is statistical machine learning, when there was an entire field of AI called knowledge representation and reasoning, kind of this symbolic artificial intelligence that dealt with semantics of language. And a lot of people have abandoned that side of AI, whereas what we're seeing moving forward is the field of machine learning being combined with semantics, knowledge representation, reasoning, and that side of AI deals with both the syntax of language, the semantics of language, and the pragmatics of language, which speak to the context and understanding of meaning.
Well, hopefully we can get that to the market.
And they're trying to rapidly develop AI. They're trying to rapidly develop systems that can control your world. They are getting this mark of the beast system prepared. Okay,
hey, you can't do that with a bastard tongue like programming in English language, man.
Yeah. Good luck, Esau. Good luck.
That's why these devils, man, they think of themselves as being gods, man. But they're trying to play the role of the Most High.
God. Through. You want me to play this erratic news cycles lead to market volatility? Did you have more?
Yeah, just like the first half, because he's gonna make a point about the bad news. All the news coming in. Some kike named Steinberg or something.
Okay.
often doubted, but rarely, if ever, wrong. So pay attention to the inversion. But obviously, what's most important this week is going to be what's happening with the Fed. And we do expect a dovish hike. So right now, the Fed is forecasting a hike in December. The market's on the same page as that. The Fed's also been saying 3 hikes next year, and the market has now faded the Fed to less than 1 hike. There's about a 50% chance of 1 hike in the markets right now. So expect a dovish meeting this week. Expect the Fed probably to move from 3 hikes next year down to 2. So expect the dots to drift lower, and we expect that should help market sentiment right now, which has been weak.
Rich, your take is that this really scares me, because you say this is one of the hardest markets in your career to get a handle on, and that goes back a ways. I mean, this is that's
32 years, Joe.
That's saying something. And there's been a lot of scary markets over the past 32 years. What's different about this one that has you scared?
I think it's a combination of the speed in which information travels and then how it's traded, right? So, and I'm talking about
the adjustments are
now. When you have markets that are really cloudy like this, and you have news flow in the morning, and then all of a sudden you have these enormous swings, it erodes confidence in both the public markets, and it also makes people skittish. Our concern is that could lead to some self-fulfilling prophecies of slowing consumer demand and things like that. But I think right now, Joe, that we have to let some of these data points get through so that it becomes less tough. You know, the Fed news will come out, and we think we're one and done for a while. And I think any type of news that could be less worse could lead to some rally in this market. The New York Times had
any type of news that could be less worse.
Right now,
oh, sorry.
But I think right now, Joe, that we have to let some of these data points get through so that it becomes less tough. You know, the Fed news will come out, and we think we're one and done for a while. And I think any type of news that could be less worse could lead to some rally in this market. The New York Times had unbelievably pessimistic stories and headlines. That's a positive data point for us. Is it the BIS that came out and said volatility is back? In 32 years, I've never even heard them make a statement on this. So we're starting to collect these data points of pessimism that maybe will make it a little bit easier.
Right, and those data points are leading to, like he said, an erosion in market confidence, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just one thing after another, one thing after another. You know, GM's laying off, Ford is laying off a bunch of employees, and they come out and say that they're recalling like 800,000 trucks, and then in January and February, that's known as layoff season, man. So we're just getting started. You know, there's going to be no good news for these algorithms to pick up.
Right.
That's right. That's right,
Good
man.
news.
And people are losing confidence in this fiat currency, man, because they see that it's run its course. I got the definition pulled up right here. Fiat, a formal authorization or proposition, a decree, and that's all it is, man. A fiat currency. The U.S. dollar, you know, for example, it's just money because they said it's money. They decreed it as being money, man, but it has no. Oh, hey, I got the definition right here. Fiat money. Fiat money is a currency without intrinsic value.
No real value.
Established as money.
Yeah, it only has value because he's got the sword, and he's telling you, hey, you gonna make this money, or I'm gonna kill you. You know,
but and they're seeing it run its course, man. It's losing value over time, and everybody could see it, man. Everybody could see it. All them investors know.
That's right.
It's at the end of the line for this paper money.
Yep. Because right now, you know, we did do you have something required for him?
No, I was just you wanted me to go into the thing when the brother was finished on this part, right?
I was gonna make a point real quick on fiat money. I wanted to talk about the petrodollar, and because it's a good transition. And to the petrodollar brothers, understand that the dollar is not backed by gold. It used to be backed by gold, and it transitioned to what the United States did was they made it to where all, you know, energy or oil transactions had to be executed in US dollars. So that caused other nations to have to hold US dollars so that they can buy oil in the markets and so they can run their nations, which brought a tremendous value to the dollar. Okay. And what we're seeing now is that their nations since 2015, you have the rise of the BRICS nations and the BRICS Bank and what's called the New Developmental Bank. Nations are beginning to trade oil and energy outside of the dollar because of the transition that's getting ready to come. Okay. And over time, it's going to cause the US dollar to hyperinflate or lose value. All right. And so that what we're seeing in the market right now is that there's a battle with oil, and the price of oil, because it's being pumped so aggressively in the market, the price of oil and natural gas is plummeting to all-time lows. Okay. Now, I don't know which topic were you about to go in on, Quiet One?
It's whenever you're ready. I was going to go into the Brexit, the race wars, and that. I'm
gonna come into that. Okay.
Yeah, Khan. Whenever you're ready, just let me know.
Real quick, I want to talk about oil and what's going on with oil real quick, so brothers can have an idea about what's going on with oil. We see the war that was going on in Syria and the positioning that the U.S. was trying to get into Syria, and you had Russia going there and kind of take and have Syria's back along with Iran. We see what's going on in Ukraine. The United States has been setting off all types of proxy wars in Ukraine, and we got algorithm videos on that to disrupt natural gas and kind of oil movements over there in Europe. And now we starting to see Saudi Arabia come up in the news more, with the United States and Saudi Arabia kind of going at each other. And that's unprecedented because Saudi Arabia is kind of like the lead nation in OPEC. Now, OPEC is the basically all these Arabian or these Ishmaelites countries that produce a lot of oil. They came in agreement with the United States to trade oil in US dollars. So this is becoming an issue in the market. And so the brother sent me this article, and I wanted to touch on this just so brothers can have this information and understanding. Did anybody have any points they want to make before I start reading this article?
No.
Okay. So this article here is from marketwatch.com. It was written on November 24th, 2018. It says 7 key reasons the bottom is falling out of oil prices on Black Friday. And since this time of November 24th, oil has dropped even further. It says crude oil prices carved out fresh yearly lows early Friday, deepening carnage in a commodity that already had futures for the U.S. benchmark and the international contract falling beneath closely watched levels. Global benchmark Brent oil, it says, and West Texas Intermediate are in a bear market, usually defined as a drop of at least 20% from a recent peak. Here are a few reasons that the industry experts say contributed to Friday's tumble, which had Western Texas Intermediate on the New York Mercantile Exchange shedding 7.7% to settle at $50.54 a barrel, marking the lowest finish since October 9th of 2017. It says holiday trading volume. Traders say that Friday's decline can at least partly be attributed to thinner trading volumes following Thanksgiving when commodity markets were closed. Lower trading activity can exacerbate moves in an asset. With crude engulfed in a vicious downtrend, the tendency is lower. Okay. Oversupplied. U.S. oil production topped 11 million barrels a day earlier this year, according to the Energy Information Administration, sparking fears that supplies will overwhelm demand. Major producers, Russia and Saudi Arabia, are also seen producing at record levels. Okay, it says margin calls. We're gonna touch on oversupply here in a second. It says traders say that Friday's decline also has been intensified by margin calls from hedge funds and those speculating on the price of oil. A margin call occurs when a broker demands that a client that's lost money making leverage bets pony up additional money to meet a minimum maintenance margin. Okay, margin calls can result in forced selling, amplifying upside and downside moves. Okay, Chinese demand. China's demand for oil byproduct gasoline dropped to the lowest levels in 13 months, according to Reuters report on Friday, offering further signs that the Beijing-Washington trade spat is hurting the world's second largest economy and one of the biggest importers of energy-related products, okay? So China is reducing how much oil and gas that they buy. Why? Because they ain't nobody buying nothing, bro. People are broke. So you don't need as much energy because you don't need to produce as much. Things are slowing down with the trade wars that's going on. It's hurting markets and making it to where people who import more oil are buying less. Okay. The next one, it says Trump. Donald Trump has consistently been advocating for lower oil prices, and on Washington issued a tweet urging even lower prices and thanking the Saudis for recent decline.
That guy lives on Twitter, man.
Uh-huh.
He runs he runs the country from Twitter, man.
Yeah, you know, which is childish as hell. Yeah, but I love it. Let's go, champ. You know, Trump is basically advocating for the oil prices to drop. Why? Because it makes it cheaper to transport. Okay, it costs less for gas and manufacturing. Because Trump is trying to enter the manufacturing realm more because the petrodollar is about to be erased.
Okay? And it's gonna gear up for World War III. You need factories to produce weaponry and vehicles and all kinds of things for the military, man.
That's right.
Going into war mode.
That's right. So having it cheap is better. Okay.
I appreciate it. This Second Esdras chapter 16 verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion.
There's a couple of reasons, man. Right now, you got the U.S. dollar. People are kind of flooding into the dollar right now when markets are volatile. And with the cheap oil, it makes it cheaper to transport, therefore bringing prices of things down. So people think that they're in good case. Really, the prices of things are not even going down, though. You know, but people, relatively, things are still cheap. Inflation hasn't completely taken over, but evils are increasing. People are setting things up. Why? Because a global reset is getting ready to happen, and all the nations are going to their respective corners. A fight is getting ready to brew, to burst out.
I got a precept.
Okay, come on, champ.
Second Esdras 16 and 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth.
That's the spirit.
That they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion.
Con. You want to make a point on that, Al?
Yeah, you know, these prices are going down and going down, man. You know, it's going to hit other markets eventually, and you know, the dollar will probably get stronger in the short term. So people are gonna have in their mind that they have peace and safety, man. You know, meanwhile, everything's brewing up for some big kind of climax, man, to drive everything back up, man. You know.
Con. I'm gonna read these last 2 points, and I'm gonna get a clip real quick. It says Saudi Arabia in a corner. It says market participants have said that Saudi orchestrated killing of the journalist Jamal Khashoggi has complicated politics around oil. Trump is reluctant to sanction how you say that word? Riyadh, because of a desire to keep fuel prices lower and preserve defense sector deals. Because if they sanction Saudi Arabia, that'll decrease supply in the markets greatly, which when supply is decreased, then prices go up. Okay.
Then they know Saudi Arabia is a strategic area over there in their region.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because Saudi Arabia is the buffer, you know, for Iran over there. You know, so they want to keep, you know, good relationships with Saudi Arabia, you know, because according to Joel, the 2nd chapter, they're going to station them troops over there, man, when they get ready to go forward against Iran, man. You know, they got the biggest military base. Their biggest military base is in Qatar, you know, right there by Saudi Arabia. So strategically, they need Saudi Arabia. That's why Trump, you know, when they dude got killed, you know, Trump was like, shit, y'all want me to stop the $100 billion deal for this nigga?
Yeah.
You know, Trump, like, he ain't even no citizen.
Yeah.
You know, they were pissed, but shit, Trump, he know the bigger picture. And he know if he stops selling Saudi Arabia arms, that they just gonna get them from Russia. You know, so
and they already getting it from Russia. So that transition is already happening. Trump is just trying to buy time. Trump is trying to buy time because he knows that the economic reset is getting ready to go down. The petrodollar system is getting ready to end. It might not be next year. It might not be, but it's getting close. So moves are being made. I believe it's coming sooner than later.
And it's the Most High that's coordinating all this.
That's right.
You people. Right. That's why the scriptures say that you're a fool for saying that there is no God, man. You know, it's all being played out. It's all being unveiled perfectly, man, step by step, chess piece by chess piece.
The algorithm.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's the Most High's algorithm, man. It's the perfect algorithm. You know, Esau's trying to build these algorithm AI systems to compete with the Most High, man. But he's the one who's controlling theirs, you know.
Gone. Brother GMS Watchman put Obadiah 7. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. Okay. You know, and that's what we're seeing. Now, this last point is a good point. It says dollar gains, number 7. A rising dollar, see the dollar's getting stronger short term, like the brother said, also helps to create a headwind for commodity because the dollar priced asset, which is oil, becomes less attractive to buyers using other currencies when the buck strengthens. So people that have other currencies like the Chinese yuan, like, you know, the British pound or the euro up against the dollar, like, you know, all these other nations, the rupee, and the dinar, it's less attractive to buy oil in dollars because it's more expensive. Okay, it's harder to deal with, man. So people are trying to are getting around it. All right. So I want to play this clip unless somebody's got a point real quick.
Hello.
What you got, champ? You got something?
No, I said oh man, no.
Oh, okay. Let's play this.
Ups and downs have been enough to give you whiplash. So what's going on? Well, for most of this year, oil prices were climbing steadily, fueled by concerns over sanctions on major oil producer Iran and falling oil stocks.
We've already reduced Iranian crude oil exports by over 1 million barrels per day. That number will fall farther.
As recently as October, oil traders were betting.
All right, so the sanctions that was placed on Iran took the supply of oil out of the market. So earlier in the year, crude oil prices were going up. If you got less supply and a steady demand, price goes up. Okay? Hope that makes sense. Keep playing.
They want to return to $100 a barrel oil, but not anymore. Investors and oil traders have changed their mind about the state of the market, and prices have plummeted. Concerns over tightening supply have been replaced by fears of slowing crude demand and rising output.
We oversupplied the market, but they just admitted and caused them to rebuild.
So while the drama. The industry has always had its ups and downs, but this time around, it's dealing with new wild cards, and the most significant ones are made in the USA. First up, there's
Okay,
winter
so
oil.
the reason why it's alarming, like she's saying, it's different. The reason she said it's always been up and down, but this time there's some wild cards in there, and this is what I want brothers to understand. The game is changing for a reason. The algorithm is set. The Most High is making this thing go. If you know what to watch for.
Sloshing around the market than people predicted. The main reason? Booming oil production from U.S. shale producers. America's oil production has surged this decade, helping global crude supplies outpace demand and putting pressure on prices. In fact, this summer, the U.S. surpassed Saudi Arabia and Russia to become the world's largest crude oil producer.
See, people think Saudi Arabia is the #1 producer in oil. People think Russia might be. No, the #1 producer in oil right now is the United States of America. People don't know that. They've dramatically increased their oil production. Why? Because of the reset is coming, and the United States needs to be in the energy game. The United States had the luxury of not being in the energy game because energy was coupled to the dollar. So we could just basically import because we had all the bread. Everybody was buying the dollar. But now the United States needs to build their manufacturing, not just for war, because the game is about to change, and the United States is going to have to be producing things to enter the game again. So the United States is rapidly trying to prepare for the shift. You're going to have oil, and people buy oil from you so you can make money, because it's not going to be tied to the U.S. dollar anymore. It's coming. Okay? Why would the United States go against Saudi Arabia, who's their strategic ally? Does that make sense? No. Why are they the drop in oil prices hurts Saudi Arabia badly? They basically make all their money on oil exports. So when the price of a barrel of oil goes down, Saudi Arabia is losing money. It's costing them more to produce oil than they make selling it. The U.S. don't give a damn because there's a change finna come. Okay.
Well, hey, I'm looking at a 1-year chart, and from October 3rd of 2018, the close of oil was at 76.41, right?
Uh-huh.
And the last close was at 45.59. That's about a 40% drop in 3 months, man.
God dang.
If you're a producer, you know, you plan out for maybe a $10, $20 drop. You know, you make plans, and because everything doesn't always work out the way you want it to. But how are you supposed to plan for that kind of? That's a crash. How are you supposed to plan for that kind of crash in such a short amount of time?
You can't.
You
can't. And another reason why that it makes sense that they're producing all this oil is because they know war is about to break out. And if that region is shut down, and basically they cut off the Strait of Hormuz, all these nations are embroiled in battle, you're going to need to have oil, man, yourself. Okay? So they can't be dependent on Saudi Arabia being able to export oil over here if World War III is breaking out in that area. Something is getting ready to pop off, man.
I'd like to make the point, going back into when the brother was talking about the origin of the petrodollar. You know, you had that war between Palestine and those so-called Jews over there. You know, and what happened during that war? Saudi Arabia stopped sending oil to America, and then America sent Henry Kissinger over here to come up with that petro deal. You know, and gas had went up so high in America, you know, that they had to start selling Saudi Arabia those weapons to open back those trade routes with their oil again, man. Because Saudi Arabia said they backed Palestine, so they said, and America was backing those so-called Jews, you know. So Saudi Arabia like, we just gonna stop giving America oil, you know, since they gonna back, you know, those so-called Jews over there. So just like the elder saying, they ain't gonna let that shit happen again, man. You know, they producing their own oil, you know, and getting into the export game, man. You know, because it happened before when Saudi Arabia cut them off, but now they don't need Saudi Arabia and they shitting on them, man. You know, and America is showing their authority, man. Trump told when Trump backed out of the Iran deal, all right, he made Saudi Arabia double its output in oil, man. He was like, look, we're gonna cut Iran off and y'all gonna make up for that oil on the market. Y'all start producing more, man. Showing you the authority that America has over there in Saudi Arabia, man. You know?
I got a quick precept. Zephaniah 2:15. This is the rejoicing city that dwelt carelessly, that said in her heart, I am, and there is none beside me.
Because America has been getting rich off all the traffic, the world trade, man. You know, why is America able to put sanctions on everybody, but no one can really put sanctions on them, man? You know, and when they do, you know, it's nothing compared to how America can affect you, man. You know, now it's not as strong as it was because at one point America put sanctions on you. You be a third world country overnight, man. You know, America dwells carelessly, man. You know,
and that's how they treat their allies, man. You know, here it is. Their allies. They help them with get some of these riches. You know, help them with their power structure, and now they're just basically saying no. All that matters is us.
Yeah, that's because they're not allies; they're vassals.
It's true, though. It's true. How has she become a desolation, a place for beasts to lie down in? Everyone that passeth by her shall hiss and wag his hand, and that's going to be the penalty, the consequence, man. You know, a lot of the like we read in Revelation 17 and 16. A lot of America's allies are going to be the ones that launch those nukes on this place, man. You're tired of their bullshitting games.
Gone. Yeah, man. So oil over the last few years has been booming in the South. You know, even brother from Mississippi could tell you, you know, Texas is going hard. You know, that's the industry that people want to get in. But whenever these prices of oil start dropping, these companies start getting strained. They have to start laying people off. You know. So gas. You know, you had the whole issue with that pipeline going through the Dakotas. Trump announced when he first was getting in that he wanted to get into the natural gas market. So now they learned how to pressurize their gas and put it into liquid form so they can export gas. And that's what they want to do. They want to take over the coal industries, the natural gas industries, and the petroleum oil industries. Okay. You had something out?
Yeah, I was just researching because you was mentioning about getting ready for war. And I'm looking here at quite a few articles. China strategically, which you know, the Moab always thinks long term. Moab for the last 5-6 years or so have been accelerating their stockpiling of oil and petroleum. And even up to this year, they're rapidly building new sites to store more petroleum. So that's for war. Because in the event of a war, you need those resources. War is very especially modern day warfare. Like ancient warfare was basically food. You know, you needed to keep your soldiers fed and give them water. You know, and they come with a sword. Modern day warfare, you got tanks and trucks, and
energy,
airplanes, and you know, all kinds of machinery. So it's resource intensive. You need a lot of oil. So China's been stockpiling, and then going into this oil production that the US has been doing, a lot of it they've been stockpiling too. And a lot of the oil price dived, it says here from Reuters, because it came out exactly how much the US was stockpiling both crude and gasoline. So yeah, these nations are they're getting ready for war, man. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's gonna come down to, man. No nation is gonna sit there and just die basically economically.
Yeah.
They gonna go out. They gonna go out swinging.
Hey man, you take a man sandwich.
Fight
He
over.
ready to fight.
Come. And then if I can make this point, like you always said, Elder, what I always remember, when war break out, resources start being used swiftly, and people got to think, all right, one fighter jet, you can't put 20 on pump 5 for a fighter jet, man. That's thousands of gallons, and America got so many aircrafts, so many aircraft carriers. They got the most conventional military weaponry, so they gonna need the most oil to fuel their military, man.
That's right.
That's right.
And that's why they're gonna have to, when they go it goes into the whole martial law thing, the mark of the beast. When you go into the FEMA executive emergency powers orders, one of them is the government having the right to basically confiscate and control all resources. So in essence, what that means, in the event of war, there is no private property. Like, so
right,
if
the NDAA,
the NDAA, all of that. So if you own a business, let's say you own a petrol station and you got some gasoline in your petrol station, the government can come and say that is now government property. We need that petrol for the war effort. On the Emergency Powers Act. And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to confiscate everything, even you.
Yep.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, taking everything.
Absolutely, man. Brother, the kingdom is within, for Revelation 11:14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly.
That's right. Everything is leading to war, man. That's really what it's all about. Everything, all roads lead to war, because these guys can't live together, and it's getting to the point where what they're gonna do? They're gonna just sit there, and all their economies. There ain't nobody who's in a good case right now. Russia's fucked. America's fucked. The Russian population are hurt, man.
Hurt.
A lot of Russians that the only thing they have is vodka, man. Like, they wake up every day, it's cold as hell. They go to the off license, they buy a bottle of vodka, go home, drink it, beat their wife, fall asleep, wake up in the morning and buy another bottle of vodka.
Yep.
That's the actual reality in Russia. Russia is not no utopia. A lot of people are hurting in Russia.
Yep. A lot of people can't wait for war to pop off, man, because they want a change.
Yeah.
And they know that diplomacy hasn't worked. It hasn't worked.
No.
I got something on the comment board.
Okay.
GMS Watchman, war is a racket. It always has been. 21,000 new millionaires and billionaires were made in the United States during the World War.
Man, that's a cut.
Yeah.
This time it's going to be 350 million dead bodies.
That's right. Through. Okay. So I'm gonna. Somebody else got a point on that? I'm gonna finish up this right here.
A title it hasn't held since 1973.
Oh yeah, you hear that? The U.S. used to be the #1 producer of oil back in 1973. What happened during that time? The petrodollar. So they need to produce oil but now, because that change is getting ready to come and war is getting ready to pop off, the United States has rapidly entered the oil game. Okay,
that's right.
Historically, OPEC, a group of large oil producers, has tried to control market swings, but they have no influence over American output. Another big wild card, President Trump.
I'm not looking to be a great hero and bring it down to zero immediately. I could get the Iran oil down to zero immediately, but it would cause a shock to the market.
In October, the prospect of tightening U.S. sanctions against Iran helped push the price of oil up to its highest level in 4 years, Iran being a major oil producer. But the U.S. granted more leeway to some buyers than had been expected, opening up the prospect for more Iranian oil to make it to market. Then there's the president's support for oil giant Saudi Arabia, following the scandal surrounding the death of journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
Saudi Arabia, if we broke with them, I think your oil prices would go through the roof. I've kept them down. They've helped me keep them down.
That also helped pressure prices amid broader jitters that a global economic slowdown could hit demand. Trump hasn't been shy about weighing in on the oil market either, tweeting out his support for lower prices and threatening OPEC.
What's in the hands of the United States president, elect president, and the world is outside our control in OPEC, and we will deal with the facts.
So are lower oil prices here to stay? Not necessarily. OPEC and its partners are considering fresh action to control supply, a move that, at least for now, could stabilize prices.
All right, so you got these OPEC nations saying that they're going to reduce how much they're producing so they can bring the bring it back up, but that's not so good for them, man. You know, I see brothers put Trump, he's our man. If he can't do it, nobody can. That's right, champ. Cameron put this stuff is crazy. Wow, yeah, this is prophecy. This is prophecy for these things to go down. You know, and so it's very interesting watching this Game of Thrones go down. Okay, the more God put it on the minds of these leaders globally to make power moves. You got something?
I was just gonna say, people gotta understand that when the prophets prophesied against nations that they were gonna go down or another nation was gonna rise up, it weren't like it just like, you know, like it's some Doctor Strange type shit. And no, geopolitical and economic things were happening that led to it, man. Just like today, there's no new thing in the earth. You know, these things always have to play out a certain way on earth. You know, the same thing happened in the Roman Empire. They had all kinds of economic issues, social issues, and that led to their downfall. And the same thing's happening today. We just showing you that, you know, this is the algorithm. This is what's happening. And we're cheating because we already know where it's going.
I got a precept for you. This is Isaiah 46:9. It said, remember the former things are old, for I am the Most High, and there is none else. I am the Most High, and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. You know, so the Lord is doing his pleasure and through the earth, man. You know, no matter what these summits that they have, you know, that they come up with, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. You know, at the end of the day, everything gonna go exactly all right how the Lord wants it to go, man. And when you look into these prophecies, all right, when you go into the scrolls, nothing is happening outside of the scrolls, man. Outside the script, nobody is going off script. You know, right. Everybody is sticking to the script that's already written, man. You know.
Kind.
That's right.
Let me see. Secret disciple put 1 Thessalonians 5:3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, they shall not escape. That's right. That's right, man. People thinking it's all good, and they think it's all copacetic. But meanwhile, evils is rising, like we was reading in the book of 2nd Ezra. You know?
That's right.
Did anybody else want to make any more points on the oil markets?
Nah.
Okay, so now we're gonna transition to Europe. We're gonna transition to all of these that have had power with the beast for an hour, man, and how it's just straight tumults. Yeah, we're gonna go across the pond, man. We have the senior analyst Require Quam on the scene. And right now you have the yellow vest revolution going on. You got Brexit, and I can't wait for this whole Brexit situation to manifest because it's just getting juicier and juicier, you know, which these Europeans are disgruntled, man, with globalism. They're disgruntled with, you know, the international systems and how it's affecting their individual lives, you know. So Did you have something that you want to open up with, or you want me to play this clip?
We can, since you mentioned the riots, we can basically show how, you know, the extent of the turmoil that Europe is in actually at the moment. I'm gonna send you a link.
Okay. You gonna do it on the Google Hangout?
Yeah.
Okay. Meanwhile, I'm gonna play this while you send it. Oh, never mind. Yeah, that was quick.
Know that urine, bro.
Yeah, you know. Like, dang.
The skirt.
Okay. Let me click on that real quick. Y'all know this computer going slow in the house. Oop. Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that. Let's go. Let me see. Let's open that up right here.
That's basically showing in the past months where there's been protests in Europe. I mean, you can see right there, like Norway, UK, Spain, France, Italy, Greece, Hungary, Czech Republic. You know, the people are disgruntled. Now we know you got agents on both sides. The Esau's got the left-right paradigm. He's got agents that represent the left, agents that represent the right, agents that represent the center right. What's happening in Europe is you're having the rise of the right and the far right among the so-called common people. All right. Now, the reasoning behind this is pretty much because Esau's hurt. Because because of the way the economy is and the way the system is, a lot of these Edomites had industrial jobs. They had jobs where you went to a factory or you went to a mine. You worked with machinery. Now, a lot of these factories got shipped out to China or whatever the case may be, or they've got new technology in, automative technology in, that no longer requires them. So you got a lot of Edomites in the UK, in Spain, in France, in Italy, who basically, a lot of them were middle class, working class. They're now going downhill. The middle class in Europe is dying, just like it's dying in America. If I could send you an article, Art,
absolutely.
I'll send you the article, and it's the same thing. So when you hear about Brexit, think about Trump, think about these riots. It's all coming from the same source. It's all the same thing. These Edomites are losing. They're being what's known as disenfranchised, and that causes the rise of the right. It's always caused the right. Whenever you have an economic downturn, the right always rises because people look for somebody to blame. Let me send you this article, and I'm gonna get to it. This is what's going to lead into the race riots, because guess who's going to get blamed? Guess who all this frustration and anger is going to be aimed at?
You already know.
Like Nero did. You know, when Rome was burnt, you know, they blame Israel.
You already sent that article?
I'll send it over to you, Art.
Oh,
okay. Check the title.
I got you. I got you there, player. We're going to put that one right here. All right.
This shows how things are changing, man. These Edomites are falling out of their heaven, beginning with the upper, middle, and lower classes.
You want to read this article? Well, let me see. All right, this is on the newscientist.com, written back in July 4th, 2016. What explains Brexit, Trump, and the rise of the far right? All right. Just start at the top right here.
Yeah, just hit the top and a little piece from the first paragraph, and that should be enough.
Okay.
All right, it says, all right. It says too many. The rise of Donald Trump in the U.S. and the UK vote to leave the European Union have come as a shock. It is feared that right-wing movements may now rise across Europe, including the Marine Le Pen's Front National in France. Why is the face of global politics changed so quickly, and could we have predicted this rightward shift? Some studies suggest so. Over a period of nearly 150 years, we have seen that every financial crisis was followed by a 10-year surge in support for far-right populist parties, as shown by a recent analysis of more than 800 elections by German economics. Interestingly, they did not see the same right shift reaction in response to recessions or macroeconomic shocks that form part of the normal cycle of economic rises and falls and were explicitly sparked by a financial crash. The UK is now 8 years on since its last financial crisis, although it should be returning to pre-2008 levels of far-right support around about now.
Right. So they know, like, basically, the more these Edomites get hurt, the more they're losing their jobs or they're getting pay cuts, their bills are increasing, more of them are being made homeless. You know how it is. We know these people are hurt. And I'm talking about Edomites. There's Edomites out there that they might have been on a 200 grand job. They lost their job. Now they're on 40 grand. Now to us, you might think, oh, 40 grand. But if they've been living on 200 grand previously, and they now on 40 grand, that's like lose your wife and your kids territory right there.
That shit is hell, bro. When you making certain levels of income and then it gets slashed, and you have a certain lifestyle going on and stuff like that, man, you lose everything, man.
Yep.
That's stress. That's stress, man.
Exactly.
People don't handle stress well.
No.
So that's happened to a lot of the middle class and the upper class, and also you got the working class are losing their jobs to machines.
Yep.
And also, it looks like immigrants and ethnic groups, whatever the case may be. This is the reality of what's happening. When all these factories go back to America, when they moved all those factories over to China, well, what work were these guys going to be doing? That's why they voted for Trump, because Trump was promising to bring the factories back because they got no jobs. So they become disenfranchised. Now, if you look up the meaning of the word disenfranchised, it means deprive someone of a right or a privilege. Right? The disenfranchised basically means in these terms that they a lot of them say, I'm English. I'm English. I should be this. I should be that. And they feel like in their own country, which is supposed to be one of the richest countries in the world, they don't have a piece of that pie anymore. And there's a lot of Americans that feel like that. There's a lot of French that feel like that. There's a lot of British that feel like that. They feel like the establishment has sold them out. They feel like they're giving money to foreign countries and immigrants. They feel like the immigrants are taking their jobs, taking their women, getting free money. They're acting like they're the victim. Right? So you know what's going to happen, right? You know what's going to happen. And this is what you see rising, all right, because of the poverty. I just sent you another article right there. If you can get that article for me real quick. And all we got to do is spotlight the headline, and then I'm going to get some scriptures.
Hey, we read sedition among men. You
know? Exactly. That's what's happening because they're blaming the government and Jake and Muslims and anyone they can for their fuck ups. Did you get the article up?
Yes, sir. The one that's on the Guardian.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just make the quick point. You know, that white privilege is dwindling, man. You know, the Edomites have enjoyed the luxury of their white privilege. You know, the Edomite privilege. You know, for this last century. You know, but now it's dwindling, man, because the elites finna put the pressure on everyone, man, into taking their chip, man.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what's going to lead to groups of so-called white men losing their minds and showing you Jake what you've never seen before. Because when these Edomites, they got money in the bank, yeah, they're racist as hell. Of course they hate you, but they're going to express that hatred in a different way. They're going to express that hatred in these passive aggressive ways.
Yep.
Now, when they feel victimized and they ain't got money in the bank, now the hatred is going to be expressed in busting you over the head and raping your woman type of way. And you're going to see they're feeling victimized right now. You got that up?
God. It said, this is on theguardian.com. It says evidence to UN highlights extreme poverty in the UK.
Who's in the picture, Ark? Who's that in the picture? That's Esau.
You over there taking an L, bro. Through.
Yeah. Food banks all over Britain. One of the richest countries in the world. Because just like in America, the top 1% really are the ones that have all the money now. Everyone else is being pressurized. Who's that in the picture? Edomites. These are the people that voted Brexit because they're like, what the hell is going on? Yeah.
UN envoy meets children in Scotland to discuss poverty. Man.
Man, I'm telling you, it's getting bad out here, man. You go on the train, there's just homeless people everywhere. Bro, it's serious out here. I'm talking about Edomites.
Look at this right here. It says middle class consume more drugs and alcohol than poorest.
Bro, they hurt, bro. A lot of these people earning 40, 50, 60, 70 grand a year are going paycheck to paycheck. They hurt.
God.
Just ain't realizing it. It's getting horrible out here. I sent you one more article, and then I just want to show brothers a channel, and I want to get some scriptures on top of that. I'm just showing you what's led to this. We could talk about Brexit all day long. We could talk about Trump, but what is actually happening on the ground?
You sent me this. You sent me the same article over again. Now
there's another one under that. I think it should say.
They both have the same title. The chief calls for evidence on effects of austerity.
Black, I got maybe try this one. There we go.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
Yep. I got that one. Get it.
The middle class is dying, man. It's hurt. And it's mainly because the middle class is mainly built on the working class buying and selling. And the working class ain't, a lot of them are losing their jobs, man. Or zero, like the way they're fuddling the numbers now, unemployment is really higher than what they say it is. But a lot of people have got what's known as 0-hour contract jobs. So say like you guys have got like Macy's or whatever, right? Over here we got like Primark and all these different things. You can work in Primark and they'll put you on what's known as a 0-hour contract. What that means is you are not guaranteed any hours. You get what they'll tell you the week, well, how many hours you can get. So you could get like 16 hours one week. The next week you could potentially get 0 hours. But you will be considered as being employed. This is the kind of madness that's going on. Like most people in the UK, they will never be able to buy a house ever. ever, ever. That's the situation. So people are getting upset. Look at that. How unequal is Britain? Are the poor getting poorer? And it tells you in the article, yes, the top 1%, yeah, they're getting richer, but everyone else is basically being squeezed. Okay? This is what's happening in America. This is what's happening in Britain. This is what's happening in France, Germany. And so you're getting this reaction. I'm going to send you a link to a YouTube channel. And I know you brothers, if you've come across it, you got these videos talking about white genocide. I don't know if you. These channels are big. Basically, you got Edomites playing the victim now. I'm going to send you a link. Just give me a second. This is one of the big channels. And they're basically preaching to these Edomites that the whole world is against them. And they're the victims now. And there's some form of white genocide going on.
I got a precept.
Can y'all hear us? Okay, go ahead.
All right, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 24, verse 7. The new wine mourneth, the vine languish, all the merry-hearted do sigh. You know, so we seeing these people joy, all right, turn to sorrow, man. You know, the mirth of tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth. They shall not drink wine with they song, strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion is broken down, every house is shut up, that no man may come in. You know, and that's what we're witnessing playing out, man. You know, it's hitting over there in Europe, you know, but it's gonna hit hard over here as well, man. You know, and we seeing these prophecies speak, man. Verse 11, there is a crying for wine in the streets, all joy is darkened, the mirth of the land is gone. You know, so these people are hurt and they in bad case, man, because the prophecies already have spoken it, man. You know, and we're witnessing the prophecies speak, man.
That's right.
All right. You see if I can pull this up.
Yeah, this is basically like a channel, and there's loads of these channels, and basically all they do is basically make it look like Esau's a victim. And this is what's going to lead to the race riots, because the far right that's basically what they're preaching, that everything is the fault of blacks and Muslims, and there's some kind of conspiracy to kill them and rape their children. And so these Edomites are losing their minds. So when you see these riots and all these Edomites out there going crazy, and they're just know that they're getting ready to take you, Jake, out.
Yeah, look at this, 300K views. The unspoken reasons behind the yellow vest protest, and I'm sure they're going into migration.
Migration is these immigrants, invade. Look at that invasion of the West. What is that building up inside of you?
Yeah, that
fear, anger, hatred. Okay. Oh, the reason you lost your job is that black guy.
Yeah, it's because those Mexicans.
So then, exactly. What do we see in America? The Mexicans.
You know.
And where it's going to end is it's going to end in somebody's going to draw first blood, because you have militant people among them that's going to start it. You know, this is where the whole thing is heading. Now the scripture says in Ezekiel 21:9, it says, "Son of man, prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord, say a sword is sharpened and also furbished." Now that goes into Esau and his martial law troops, because the government is also going to be a sword against you, Jake. But these average everyday Edomites are also going to be a sword against you, Jakes. They're going to rise up. First of all, the scripture said it's sedition among men. They're going to not trust the government, because a lot of these groups are actually against the government because they think the government sold them out. And they're against you, Jakes. They're against you, Jakes. They don't want you in their country. They don't want to see you no more. They don't want you around. You go on these comment boards, they're talking about send you, kill you, or send you back to Africa. That's how they feel about you because they're blaming you for their entire life. It goes into something that called victim playing, all right, which is the fabrication of victimhood for a variety of reasons, such as to justify abuse of others. And that's exactly what these devils is going to do. They're going to feel justified when they're killing you Negroes and slaughtering you wholesale, man, woman, and child, because they're going to say they're doing it to defend themselves and their way of life and their livelihoods. And that's what these riots and these things are all about. That's what Trump was all about. That's why they voted for Trump. That's why they want to build a wall. And when the wall don't work and when the jobs don't come, they're going to resort to the sword, because Esau always hated Jacob, man. That's why the scripture says, it is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. It is furbished that it may glitter. Should we then make mirth? And the only one that's not really coming together and setting their eyes upon the others is you, Jake. You, Jake, are not really coming together and saying, you know what, to hell with these Edomites, man. They're the problem. They're the ones that's got us catching hell. We got to get ready to take them out. But let me tell you something. These Edomites are doing that, man. These Edomites are organizing themselves and they're coming together and they're identifying you as their problem. Here in the UK, yeah, they look at the knife crime. Oh, these blacks, they're the ones doing all the crimes. They're the ones. These are what these devils do, and they're organizing themselves. Meanwhile, what are you Jakes doing? Partying, making joke. You only organize to kill each other. That's what you're doing. These Edomites ain't doing that. They're coming together in rallies, EDL and English Defense League and all these guys. Them dudes that are getting together in them rallies, when they're not in the public and they're in the pub together, they're talking about, yeah, I can't wait for that time when we can get our hands on these niggas. And if you think that's not real, then hey, you're gonna have to experience it to believe it.
Well, hey, Ak, me being a confusion of face, I've seen it, man. You know, it's all Edomites at these gun ranges and these sports bars and all kinds of shit, man. They talk openly about it.
Yeah.
You know, when they're sitting there, they're eating their chicken wings and so on and so forth, and drinking their beer after they get done target practice in the basement.
Yep. And you got the ringleaders, you got the guys that will come, the extremists, what they call them, and they'll rally. The other people are gonna rally to them. They're gonna look at them as heroes, and Esau gonna draw first blood because you, Jake, ain't ready, man. You ain't ready, man. You don't know what's going on. All right. It says, it contemneth the rod of my son as every tree, and he have given it to be furbished that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened that it is furbished to give it into the hand of the slayer. All right. And who's the slayer? The Esau. And it ain't, like I said, it's not just going to be his martial law troops. It's going to be groups of these Edomites that are pissed off and fed up. They're tired of being told they can't call you niggas. Yeah. The whole political, that's why Trump said, I'm not politically correct. And everyone loved him because Esau is getting tired of being politically correct. He is getting tired of being told that he can't talk about black people in public in his own country. He's getting tired of it. He wants to have the freedom to say what he wants and do what he wants and take his lifestyle back. And he's going to try and do that through the sword. All right? So that's what's happening out here, man. What's this? Jeremiah, the 30th chapter. And I've got documentaries I could show you that they've done here in the UK, but if I show it, they'll take the video down because that's what the BBC is like. But they show you. They go to these rallies and these people are here talking about get these Muslims out here, the blacks, this, that, and the other. And I'm looking at that like, boy, Jake don't know what's coming, man. Soon as all hell breaks loose, these dudes are going to be coming to you. This is Jeremiah 30. We're going to start from verse 5. So, but thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child, Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. So you Jace are gonna experience what the Native American Indians experienced. When Esau went over to the Americas, man, them Edomites were stone cold against God.
Yeah.
And they killed God wherever they found him. You Jake, you think that Esau's gone because you see Esau driving his car, having a good time. No, that same Esau's gonna come back. Esau's gonna get desperate. He's gonna be angry. He's gonna be hurt. Just like when he lost his blessing. And what did he say directly after that? I'm gonna kill my brother Jacob. You don't know who you're playing with, man. This man is a murderer from the beginning.
God. They're setting it all up. They're setting it all up. Yeah, I was just kind of looking at the comment boards on this video why they want to replace white people. And Esau's just like he says, is playing the victim. You guys are amazing. Finally, someone to put it out there. My husband and I see it all too well. The white race is becoming extinct, and you're absolutely right. They are doing it by trying to make us feel guilty or ashamed for being white. I'm sorry, but I had nothing to do with history. I didn't own a slave, force people out of their homes, and take their lands of my own. I didn't have anything to do with everything they blame us for, and neither do they. Why should I owe them jack shit? I won't apologize and walk with my head down. I am a proud white woman, and I have white children. And if that makes me racist, then wait. Doesn't the actual term racist mean to be proud of who you are and where your family roots are? Not one thing about hating other races. Why did everyone start with making everything racist and racist mean hate? So now they try to flip it like they didn't create all of these terms and they didn't create all of these definitions and labels and categorizations.
You saw guilty.
Yeah, like forget about that perpetual hatred. That's what I'm trying to say, man.
Yeah, man, these people are absolutely insane. I just want to hear what this wench has to say.
Me, and I'll tell you why.
And look at this thing. This thing's got over 600,000 views, man.
Bro,
it's just Esau complaining.
The Great Replacement.
And you know they talk about Negroes complaining. The biggest complainer is you so-called white people, man. You self-proclaim. And I try to get out of saying so-called white. You self-proclaimed white people. You know, you the one who created all these labels, and now you're trying to run from it.
Originally used by a French writer, Renaud Camus, who used it to describe demographic replacement happening in France due to mass immigration policies combined with low birth rates among the native French. Yeah. But of course, this applies to many European countries. The UN literally has a program called replacement migration. The premise behind it is total garbage. They claim replacement migration is needed in the West to help take care of an aging population. Yes, Africans, Middle Easterners, and Asians who don't take care of their own people are led into Europe because they're going to be good taxpayers.
They act like the European nations don't control all the corporations that are in these other nations. The so-called white man is absolutely delusional, man.
And that's why he's dangerous.
He's extremely dangerous and always has been.
This is how they got the Native Americans. Oh, I just want to say this. This is exactly how they got the Native Americans slaughtered. Oh, these Gadites, they're savages. They're this, they're doing that. You know? And then the Edomites said, okay, we're the victim. We got to go in there and kill them all.
Yep.
This is the Esau's MO. This is what we're seeing happening before our very eyes. And Jake he's not registering what's going on. These devils are ready to wild out. They're ready to go buck wild. They're losing their jobs, man. They got to go to work and probably have a Jake as a manager. Do you know? And they're on the comment board here and they got to work, yeah? There was one letter a guy wrote in and he was pissed off because he said he went to a job interview and he never got the interview, but a black woman got the interview, and he was pissed.
Yeah,
he was pissed.
Yeah,
these devils, man, they feel like now because they're losing out, no one else should have anything.
Yep.
So when they see you in a BMW, they hurt. Now, how come he's got a BMW and I ain't got one? I'm white.
Mm-hmm.
He must have got it free. The government gave that to him.
Yeah.
He got the job because he was black. You know?
Yeah, that's exactly what they think, man. You know, that's
when they lose their daughters, man, that really eats them alive, man.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. It says, this guy James Carwell says, "Thank you. This needed to be said. As a factory worker, I have seen what foreign labor can do. As an American, I've been forced to take lower wages due to immigrant workers. And yeah, they are tax-free, receive free medical housing, and many companies receive tax breaks as well as other kickbacks from a hiring quota. We Americans pay taxes and receive medical insurance, which we pay for. And if that's not bad enough, we also take care of them. Yes, your tax dollars at work. You struggle from day to you struggle with the day to day and keep your family fed. And what's worse is you support the immigrant as well. Time for a change."
There you go. And that's your Brexit voter. That's your Trump supporter. That's your rioter in France. Do you understand what we're telling you? These people are pissed off. They're tired of the center left and the center right. They want to go extreme now.
Yep.
They want to go extreme, and they are gonna go extreme. And like I said, there's gonna be first blood. Something's gonna happen, and some Edomites are gonna go buck wild, and they're gonna kill a lot of you, Jake, man.
God.
They keep showing these things where white women are getting raped by immigrants and Mexicans are raping white women and all this stuff. Like white men don't rape white women, you know? Like, you know what I'm saying? There's more white men probably raping white men than, trust me, them Edomites are experts at date rape. They're like the Edomites got date rape down to a fine science. Trust me, they invented that. Ain't no Jake date raping no woman, man. You know, that's all Esau. But all that stuff is being used to fuel this hate that's being brewing, man.
Gone. It's getting coming, and this global and this reset is just going to be exactly what they need. Once the stock market crashes and everything is rolling around and changing, you know, they're going to come. It's going to be a firestorm, man. It's going to be a lot.
Like Alex Jones keeps talking about how London is basically an Islamic city. It's not. I live here. No, it's not. You've got areas of London, obviously, that a lot of Muslims live in, but it's not. He's talking about there's no-go areas where police can't go. That's all lies. But these Edomites believe that shit.
Yeah.
He's adding to that victim status. Oh, these people are taking over. No, they're not taking over. Like he's stupid. They make up like less than maybe 2% of the whole population in England. Man, what are you talking about? Right? They're just in London. You go, there's plenty. It's like you go places in England, they've never seen a black person, man. You know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous. But Esau has to justify what he's gonna do.
That's right. That's what we see, man.
And then if I can make the point, you know, like you always say, Elder, why are there even immigrants, man? Because Esau is air striking the shit out of these people's cities, man. You know, like where are they coming from? They come from literally rubble, man. You know, they ain't got nowhere to go because of who's military, man. All right, Esau is doing all these airstrikes, man. You know, look at the airstrikes in the Middle East from 2015 to now, man. It's in the thousands, man. You know, so that's why there's immigrants, man, because of his perpetual war, man. You know.
Yep. Oh, and this thing in South Africa. This thing in South Africa basically is being used as the poster boy as to why Edomites need to fight now. And they're calling it like white genocide is happening in South Africa, which it's not. Like a genocide, like a couple farmers got killed. Like that's not genocide. Like, like what they did to the Native American Indians was like a couple millions got killed. You know what I mean? More, tens of millions. That's genocide. Genocide is not a couple people getting killed, okay? But like I said, Esau's using that South African BS to make it look like, oh, okay, so we need to do something because what's happening in South Africa, that'll eventually happen here. They keep talking about this black majority. Edomites are actually scared of that. You know, you Jake, man, I'm telling you, Jake don't understand. Like these Edomites you walk past on a daily basis, they might smile in your face, some of them, they might shake your hand at work, but when they go home or when they're alone and with their friends, man, they're like, yo, they're saying what they can't say in public. And when they see other people saying it in public more and more now, they're like you said in the comment board, like, wow, somebody needed to say this because this is what they've been thinking. They just need people to lead them. That's all it is. They need a champion to champion the cause of killing you Negroes. And what's his name? A sharp knife. What was that guy's name? That president, Andrew Jackson type Negro. That nigga, Andrew Jackson. That's what they need. Someone to start killing, and they gonna join in.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a free for all, and they're building up, man. They're building up, man. We in that time, man. We are in that time. It's beautiful. So bring it on, because you know you gotta do nothing but excite Yahweh Shem Yahushua to bring that holy host. You know. So, anybody else have any points, man? I gotta wrap it up here.
Gone.
And Lord willing, this was edifying, man. We wanted to touch on a lot of things. There's a lot more to come. You know, we're coming into this 2019 New Year time, man. So brothers are getting ready to have the New Year's Eve of destruction videos. So you know, it's gonna be on and popping, and I'm excited to see what the apostles have in store and their mind and what they're thinking moving forward into this so-called New Year. Because we're definitely ramping up into something, man. So we wanted to put this algorithm together and hit several different points. So Lord willing, this thing it was edifying for you, Akiam. I'm excited to see how the Brexit unfolds and how all these riots and everything that's going on in Europe in general unfolds. So, anybody got any closing statements?
Yeah, man. Pray for a no deal.
Absolutely, man. Hey, man. If nobody has anything else, we're gonna close out with that, man. We're gonna give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders. Once again, much peace, love, and salutation to you. I'm out there pushing. Let's keep going. Stay consistent. Stay motivated, and have an abundant mindset and faith and prophecy. With that, hey, shalom.
Shalom, Hashem.